Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host, Superman, in the house. Well, we've had a bit of a pullback last night on the Fed Chair speech. Watching that in real time as well. I'm sure many of you were also. So yeah, we're going to get into a few of the highlights that I think are probably interesting. Yeah, the market, did they consider it a hawkish speech? They certainly looked like it at the time. And I just think it's kicking the can down the road. That's kind of what I think. So we're going to see how that goes. Let me just set a few things up here as well. Don't forget to subscribe on the way in and smash the follow on X and hit the repost button. That helps a lot. And we'll get into the show here. So let's see here. Let's jump into what do we got here? Let me refresh and get everything pinned up to the top of the profile on X. Let's see here. Yeah, let's go. Bam. All right. I think we're getting there. Yeah, let's smash the likes and hit the repost button on X. Helps a lot there. Let's get into the show. We're just going to build up slowly. Yesterday, we had a huge audience watching the show. Our average audience has been going up dramatically, guys. This is great because we're talking about the best stuff, crypto. We're talking about Bitcoin, talking about Ethereum, and of course, the biggest influencer talking about comprehensive coverage of Pulsechain every day. So it is that's our positioning. And onwards, upwards. And of course, we also have the official publication, the Monster Thread, that goes out every single week. And that is the viewership's going up, 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 and away, just like Superman. So pretty cool, pretty cool. A big shout out to MBS Crypto out there as well. The editor-in-chief and the promotional lead for the Crypto Night Show works hard every week on the move there. And of course, it's exciting times. All right, now I'm going to just pull up a few things. We're going to talk about the stock market first. So let's do that. Change the format a tiny little bit here on the show, but we'll get there. We'll get there in the end. We had a big announcement today, not only to be the Fed chair speech overnight, but we also had Trump giving a big announcement around a big oil deal done with Venezuela. So really bullish there. These guys are playing a big economic game. You can see the chess pieces on the move. We saw D-Day the other day against Iran. That's going to play out over the weeks ahead. And of course, we also got this Venezuela deal done with oil supply, guys. Very, very sneaky. What the Trump's doing there in the open. And of course, we got Mt. Gox in house. Great to see you, Mt. Gox. A beautiful opportunity, indeed. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to get into the stock market and talk about that first. Then we're going to get into the crypto majors, talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, how that reacted, and we're obviously going to talk about the Fed chair speech, and then get into Pulsechain and see how that's going too. All right, so let's jump without further ado. So Wall Street ends lower on hawkish wash at the Jackson Hole. That was the speech overnight, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We got the Dow Jones at the moment is down only 9 points to 53,559. So not too big impact on the big cyclical top 30 industrials there. S&P 500 down 0.25%, 19 points to 7,700 on the S&P. Nasdaq down 0.5%, 139 points to 26,400. So a relatively muted response really from the stock market. It's definitely down, but kind of muted on the hawkish, so-called hawkish speech. I'll talk about that in a minute. We've got the dollar at the moment up 0.5%, 54 cents to 99.64. So an appreciation, strengthening US dollar there. And then we've got the volatility index is down 0.5%. So funny enough, the markets are down slightly, but the volatility index is down to 14.43. So, it's a very much risk-on environment. It is pretty awesome, right? We're right at the bottom of the range. Look at that. Last time we were this low was back in December last year. So really risk-on there. Pretty cool. Now let's have a quick look through some of the, actually we'll go to the commodities first. Commodities, West Texas has come down just a fraction. We're at $83.44. We want to get below $80. But given what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz, it's pretty interesting that oil prices are even down at this level, right? So that's really, really exciting. And of course, now with deals like Venezuela, increase in demand, more distribution, it helps a lot with that global oil logistics, let's say, that 100 million barrels a day. We've got Brent oil at the moment at down 0.25%, $88. We've got gold at the moment at $4,500, at down 160, so down pretty hefty there on the Fed chair speech, down 3.4%, $160 down to 4,500. Silver down $3 as well, 4.6% to $66 there. So getting pretty hit a little bit in the charts. Copper is down only 1%, and you guys know why, because copper is going to be the golden goose there, so to speak. At least the copper glow. That's looking pretty good, $6.54 a pound, which is pretty amazing. I think that's equivalent to what is about. Yeah, well, anyway, it's pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, I won't try to calculate too much on the live stream. So we got War says inflation trends have not meaningfully improved. That's kind of the tagline there. And so, yeah, we shall see how that all goes. I'm not going to go through all these different numbers here. Obviously, quite a bit of a write-up here about the Fed. But what I will do is just give my own little summary as well. That is, let's go. We're going to come back here and get rid of that quickly. And so, yeah, we did see the focus on inflation and underlying trends was the key messages coming out from the Fed chair. Headline core readings, he said, have been recently a bit better than expected. So that is good news in the short term. But Walsh said they do not tell him that underlying trends have meaningfully improved. So he's looking for these underlying trends. He looks past single monthly prints, so still not quite there with the data is kind of the key outtake. This is kind of cool. It's kind of deferment, pushes it down the road a little bit there. Gives more time for the data to improve. And of course, this is also positive for the midterms coming up in November, right? So that's why I think that day, even though people are seeing it as hawkish, and we'll talk about what that is in a second, actually, he's kicking the can down the road. He's giving more opportunity for data to come in. And this is positive. This is positive, right? So very cool there. He looks past single monthly prints. That's a very important part. He cited diffusion of price changes as well. He roughly half of the PCE, which is he confirmed as the main economic indicator for inflation. He talked about the components were still rising at more than 3% annualized, and of course that's something he's been looking at over the last 6 months and 12 months respectively. They've been up around 50%. Yeah, so that's kind of where we are right now. He's got he's looked at multiple economic gauges as well. He went through quite a few of those. He said, obviously talking about the 12-month PCE inflation data being at 3.7%, the 6 month being at 4.1%, and of course all the so he wants more time basically, and that's cool. That's kicking the can down the road. That's what we want to see. Inflation, of course, is running above the 2% target. So that's what they want to get. They still want to work towards that. He didn't really care about wage growth very much having an impact. And so, that's kind of where he is. He still wants to get that 2% in. And of course, you got the nominal inflation rate at 3.7. So he's still working on that. And the core inflation, if you take out food and energy, at 3.3%. Now, he said that the 2% target is firm and fixed. So they were still working on that. It's kind of an arbitrary target, honestly, but there it is. It's based on the old New Zealand Central Bank. They kicked that off. Price stability is not automatic or mean reverting, he said. In other words, that the Fed still had to do its job. No excuses, right? So we do know they want to do their job, but he's like I say, even though this is kind of hawkish, trying to get inflation down from 3.7 down to 2%, and he said, well, we're still looking at the underlying inflation. We're still going to see how that plays out. So they're still kicking the can down the road, right? Giving more time for it to drop. So I think this is more dovish, right? So more dovish actually in the short term. Obviously, it seems hawkish when you got that gap between inflation and the PCE, but actually you're just waiting for more time. And so you're kicking it down the road to see where the underlying inflation is actually coming down. So he was pretty happy with the labor market as well. So he thought that was doing pretty well. He thought the US economy was doing pretty well. So really their focus is on prices, right? And so that's given that reinforcement there. He said short-term interest rates remain the main tool that they would use. And of course, he said he would be hard-pressed to call for broader financial conditions restrictive. In other words, he's got room to move. The Fed has room to move to bring down those if they want to raise rates, right? Yeah, that's pretty much where he is at the moment. He said basically we must be confident that underlying inflation is moving to our objective clearly and at sufficient speed. Otherwise, we have work to do. So basically, it's kicking the can down the road and waiting for more data to come through. This is the way I read it. I think that's pretty clear. And so they're actually kind of dovish compared to the hawkish gap, let's say, and that they have work to do if necessary. So I see him kicking this down past the midterms in November, and that's very good for very good, obviously, for the Republicans, very good for Trump, and ultimately good for the US debt that they have to refinance, right, which is pretty expensive. Now, he refused to give forward guidance, so that seems to be his play, or mechanical reaction functions. He's not really doing that. And so policy will be data dependent, meeting by meeting. He wants a quieter Fed that does not invite markets to trade off every hint. So he doesn't want to give forward trades, right? So, like I say, the market's seen this kind of hawkish at the moment, but I think that they, just like last time, they might see it, they saw it hawkish and then they become more dovish. And that's kind of where I think we're still looking at the potentiality for actually lower inflation coming up in future data points, giving more time and midterms there. So that's kind of my position. Let's see how we go. So far, it's been right. We have been, going down from 2 rate rises or 3 rate rises even down to almost 1. So that is kind of the print at the moment. So hopefully that's interesting insight there from me. Let me know your thoughts on that, of course. So yeah. And we've had some modest pullback there in the stock market. Now let's quickly go to the Fed rate monitor and see the impact from the market point of view. I've given my sort of position on that. So we've got 2 weeks and 4 days to go, 16 hours until the next Fed meeting on the 16th September. We now have a switch, right? So yesterday, I think it was yesterday, we had over 60%, maybe 2/3 of the market expecting a no change. Now we have 56% of the market expecting a 25 basis point. But I think that's misreading. I think that's misreading the market, like I just said. So let's see whether I end up being right about that on the goal there. Because it seems to me, do they want more data? They're kicking the can down the road. They want to see if underlying inflation is coming down. So we need more prints. And look, I don't see Wash doing it before November, guys. So he's going to put a lot of pressure on the other presidents to vote no change. That's kind of where I feel at the moment. So I think the market is misreading this. Let's see. We've still got a whole month of data prints coming. Remember the PPI, the CPI before this time. So take note of that. We'll have August data out, right? October, we've got the same 52%. The majority of this view of a 25 basis point rise there. So you can see that both September, October calling one rate rise. And of course, I don't know about September. And of course, if we get through September with no change, I think October might come down too, because we'll have a couple more, at least 2 more months print, right? So very excited about that. December, we've got the 38% expecting 25 basis point rise. And the first time we're getting another 25 basis points there, 39%, slightly more than the 25. So still indicating a 2 interest rate rise here by the end of the year, but only, I would say, marginally there. So yeah, if you say one firm rate rise, and of course that would hit the market in the short term. It's really the trend that the market's looking at. We're going to get 2 hits or so. So if we do get one, it will certainly hit the market. But then I think the market will just recover, right? Just go, okay, that was kind of as long as the forward picture doesn't look like a trend in the rate rises, then I think that's probably going to be short term and up after that. So we shall see. Time is ticking. We've got another month of data. I'll be watching that, of course, as well. All right. So let's jump away from that. Let's quickly we're going to go back to the stock market there. Next week, of course, we've got a lot of economic data coming through, particularly around manufacturing. That's going to be big. And of course, that's typically strongly correlated with the crypto market. So, and it's been going in our favor for at least 5 or 6 months. All right. So we'll be watching that. Let me bring up the crypto markets as well. Now, when I was watching it real time, I saw the stock market and the crypto markets coming down on this during the speech. It was pretty funny. And then we got a bit of a rebound afterwards. And then we got a big sell-off afterwards, or relative sell-off afterwards. So let me bring up a few charts here, and we'll go for gold. I want to bring up the Bitcoin treasuries, and I want to bring up the ETFs. We've seen a lot of cash flow going through the ETFs, right? ETFs are extremely profitable for the banks, guys. And so, this is all self-fulfilling, right? If it's very profitable, they're going to try to open up those markets even more to make more money, right? So, what they're like, the investment banks like to follow the money. So we'll be watching that. All right. We might do ETFs first as well. I might bring up the power law as well. Always like bring up the power law to see where the forward prices are looking. I think we're looking good there. So let's get into the charts again. We've got Christos in the house. Hey, big shout. Good morning, Superman. Hey, good to see you, Christos. Welcome to the OGs in the house. All right, so let's kick it into gear. Don't forget to repost the show on X Live. helps a lot there. Get more people into the show. We had a huge audience yesterday, and our average audience have been going up and up and up. So definitely get into that, guys. Share the channel around, because I keep it to the numbers. No drama channel, no infotainment. We're just into the numbers, right? We try to keep consistent there, watching the key drivers. So if you love that kind of format, this is the show for you. And we are the only channel doing comprehensive Pulsechain coverage, by the way. If you don't believe me, go watch other channels. They do a great job, but they're doing specifically, just maybe the Richard Cause or something like that. But we do it all. We do it here on the show. All right, so let's have a look at the total market, 2.72 trillion. We're down 2.9% today, obviously hit on that Fed chair speech. Let's look at Bitcoin at the moment. On average, across the exchanges, indexes, we're at 77,817, down 3.2% hit overnight, but it's actually a good little correction. Obviously, we don't want cascade failure and going the opposite way, but it's good to have a little correction. May it also set us up nicely for bull flag, right? Bull flag, we like those. And so, yeah, there we go. And for the week, we're down 0.7% now on that pullback for the week there. Ethereum there at 2,444, up down 2.7%. So not as bad as Bitcoin, notice. Not as bad as Bitcoin, but we are down worse on the week there, 2.9% on the week. BNB at number 4 is $691. That is down 3% right now. But is up 0.6% for the week, and interestingly enough, not far but below 700, so pretty cool. XRP down 4.8%, as you can see. It is at $1.38 at number 5, down 4.9% for the week. So most of the weekly decreases are from the last 24 hours. Solana there at number 7, down 4.8%, but up 10.9%. 10.9%, guys, against everything else. Solana is the one that's standing out, going to the upside there. And we talked about this the other day when we talked about going over $100, right? So that could do a tier to 130, 150 bucks, right? Which is kind of what we're talking about. And even against the Wash speech, is even though it's down 4.8%, is actually still up 11%. It's at $104. So we may see Solana, rip to the upside there. Keep a lookout for that. Obviously, it's been taken down just a tad today, but watch out once it breaks that 100 there. Very exciting. And they had some, didn't they have some tokenomic decisions around the tokenomics overnight as well, I think. I haven't looked at the outcomes of those, but I'm pretty sure they did have some sort of buy and burn or something going on there. Tron at number 8, let me know in the chat if you guys know that, of course. Number 7, Solana there is down, like we talked about that. Tron, sorry, up 0.9% for the 24 hours, down 0.8% for the week at 34 cents. Number 10, Hyperliquid, down 5.3% at $80.34. But I'm pretty sure before the Fed speech that was at a new record high there, as far as I could see. I think it went up to $84 or so, up 6.2% for the week still. And of course, look at this battle between Zcash and Dogecoin. Zcash there down 1.2%, Dogecoin down 4.5%, and that is a battle. They've been switching positions, and Zcash there got a lot of the Bitcoin kind of players in it. That's been pumped big time there. Still up 9.2% for the week there, $805. Dogecoin there down 7% for the week at 8.5 cents. Dogecoin, of course, getting a lot of potential love there from X Money, I think, once it goes crypto. But it's probably a bit further down this year. But keep a lookout for that, because that could be, we get obviously the fiat wallet, the X Money wallet goes full fiat, goes full release. It's at the moment like Premium Plus holders, like only a selection. It gets fully rolled out basically to all the users with a fiat option, and then they add the crypto option. And then obviously Dogecoin there's the Elon Musk, it's the one he likes, right? So could get a lot of love there. So keep a lookout for that. That's something a bit further down the road, but maybe not that far. We'll see. We'll see how quickly. They're certainly taking longer to get that out, but it's coming. It's coming, no doubt, at some stage. So that's obviously not a dead certainty, but we're playing probability there, and that is Dogecoin there. But the battle is on between Zcash, the privacy, and Dogecoin there, and the memeology. All right, memeology plus was it mass adoption through X Money. All right, so that's kind of the play there. Let's look at the top 100. We've got official Trump there at number 1, up 9.1%. We've got Monero up 3.4%. We've got Rain there, or Figueroa up 2.1% there. Rain up 2.1% and Just up 1.3%. Those are the top 5 and the top 100. So pretty muted, except for official Trump meme coin there, sitting at number 90 now in the top 100. Over the last week, we've got official Trump also dominating number 1 spot, up 48.7%. VeChain there up 20.5%. Rain up 17.4%. Pump Fund up 15.7%. And Athena there up 14.7%. So, ETH getting a lot of love there, and some of the big earners as well, like Pump Fund there, getting a lot of love in the chart. But Trump memeology there, standing out there, 48.7%. Interesting enough, Eric Trump, just an interview only a few hours ago. I watched quite a bit of that interview. It wasn't particularly insightful for us. Normally we're trying to see whether he's going to drop some insights because he meets with all the key players, right? So he's feeling very bullish about world liberty flies, as I call it, and of course their stablecoin, number 4 stablecoin, I think it is now USD1, and that's on the up and up, right? So I think it's down here somewhere. I haven't got on the ranking of but it's number 4 on the stablecoins. He's very excited about their growth there. So yeah, that is the total there. Let's look at top 1,000. We've got Lobster up 89%, Aikido up 60%, and Magma Finance up 50%. Those are the top movers in the top 1,000 right now. Trending overall is Pons, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. How about that? They are the trending. Everyone's looking at those. That's a pretty interesting sign. That's the beat of the market, right? Looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, as we just did. We've got Blair in the house. Hi all. Great to see you, Blair. Welcome to the chat as well. So that is the view there. Let's go to look at Bitcoin on the Zoomology here. Zoomology. I'm just putting ology on anything. We've got Bitcoin here. Let's go to that. We're going to look at the chart just to see the reaction there on the chart. Normally I have this pulled up already, but it is what it is. So this is the weekly chart. Let's go to the hourly though, and watch the action as the Fed chair there went on. So yeah, we got the sell-off, didn't we, on the hourly there? Look at that, boom, boom, boom. So it was up at we had this big rally. Look at that well before the Fed, we had that rally to $81,479. Can you believe it? Not far away from our target here, that orange line, right, which is 82,200 or 300 there, and we came, and then the Fed chair speech, seen as hawkish, down it came. We whipped all the way down to 78,400. We're back up at 77,834 right now. So we were watching this very closely. Let's go to the 4-hourly view for Bitcoin. We are just below the 4-hour, 50-hour, 4-hour moving average, which is at 78,100. So we probably want to regain that. So keep a look out for that number. That is 78,100. So it's about just less than 300, or maybe about $300 away from where we are right now on that. And let's go to the daily chart. Daily chart here, you can see we are 50 here, just slowing down a little bit here, but we're at 67,000. The 200 moving daily average is at 69,340, so we're well above that, guys. And so that's very, very cool. And obviously we could get a golden cross once this closes up, but it's still still $2,300, just $2,300 away gap. So it's closing down that gap as well. So that's closing, and that's a golden cross if that happens. So I think the chart's still looking pretty good despite the speech that the Fed had. And like I said, I actually think it's kind of more dovish again, just like the last speech. Last time he's put up the 5 different working groups. He's got another working group now, and it just feels like kicking the can down the road. And why not? Because you got to refinance that debt. You've got to wait for more inflation, more underlying inflation mechanics to work for the United States there. Trump's doing a fantastic job with the economy. Obviously, the sideshow, as we call it, is the Strait of Hormuz, right? But actually, you think about the oil prices; they're actually still relatively low. Considering that, and that's because they're undermining the oil flows, right? That's what they're working on. So if they had 20 million oil flow through, they've been doing overland pipes. They've been commissioning new pipes. Been coming in. They've been shifting demand. The United States has picked up a lot of demand. Other countries have picked a lot of demand up. So this is what they've been doing, guys, to dampen down the impact of Iranian control and impact on the oil prices, right? So very clever. And we've seen numbers from the White House there of doing about 14 million barrels, I should say, out of 20 million. And I think that that will go up and down every day, but that's kind of what they're ebbing and flowing. Now we see this Venezuela deal come out today. So and then of course the ships go over to the Gulf of America, etc., and all that sort of stuff. So you've got lots of things happening to bring down the impact there. And now they're really trying to turn the screws on all Iran's secondary, third sort of countries supporting it. And so I guess they've still got to get, I think China's still bringing in about 1.1 million barrels from Iran, and they're going to try and squeeze that down, no doubt, as well. So we'll see how that all plays out, but that's kind of the big picture. And so here we are, 77. So we're watching, see whether we get a nice little reset here on the old Bitcoin there. All right, now let's go to the weekly here, because the weekly is really important. We've had a lot of things that could have been headwinds become tailwinds in the last 2 weeks. They've been fantastic, but we got our first sort of heavy hit headwind there with the Fed chair speech being a bit more hawkish from the market point of view. I think it's actually going to end up being dovish because of the kick in the can down the road, and it gives more time, right? So we wanted to close over this level, right? This 82,300, particularly if we could get over 83. That was a clear move, but we want to get over the 50-week moving average at 81,000, and we want to get over the third lower high here in the bear market of around 82,200, right? So that's kind of the key mark there. Obviously, I want to get 83 is a clear jump there. It's looking very difficult now. We've still got 2 days to go in the weekend to get a weekly close, so we'll see how we get on. But if we do get a nice little recovery, regardless, and people start saying, actually, maybe the Fed wasn't that bad, and we get over there. So we'll keep looking out for that over the next 48 hours. Very important there. All right, we are well above the 200, right? So we smashed through that 200 moving average. That 4-year cycle is currently down at 84,600. So we smashed that up and to the right there, looking pretty cool. We're still coming into the Clarity Act vote, so that gives us a lot of pressure. Imagine water pressure there coming up against that. And that we're in a win-win position. One is a great win, one is a good one. A great win is the Clarity Act going through. A good one is the SEC and the CFTC putting rulemaking based on existing laws on the books, pushing crypto innovation into the United States. So that's kind of cool. We'll be watching out for that. So that is where we are right now. A lot more pressure on that, and that is still for me giving the upside. Right, that's the big play, because that's where all the money's coming. Right, all the money will come in from a rulemaking. And that means that it's game on for crypto, right? It's game on here as well. We also got the other things. So we've got not only did the Fed come out, but we had the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, talking about using their, almost $1 trillion a kitty, as it were, to prop up the bond market, the 10 and 30 year particularly. So we've got this sort of moving as well. And I think that's why the Fed's probably just more of a deferment, if you ask me. We'll see how it lands by the end of the year. But yeah, it's look out, sort of going ebbs and flows a little bit. I just kind of feel like it's still going to end up dovish on the move. All right, so that's kind of where we are on this one, and so yeah, we'll be watching this as well. So yeah, pretty important there. There's a lot more we could say, but that's kind of the key stuff. So we're watching. We're at this crossroads. That's our crossroad, right? We want to get over that. That's a big deal. All right, let's jump over. I'm going to move that over because we're going to talk about Ethereum soon. But let's look at the ETF flows. Well, we've been having a great time. Look at this, guys. All this money coming in. Are we on Bitcoin? Maybe not sure. Yeah, Bitcoin. We've got all this money coming in on Bitcoin. Look at this all. These are the amount of Bitcoin just buying every day. Our first negative day was last night, 2010, on the Fed speech there. But it's all right to have a pullback. But look at that capital flow. 690,000 Bitcoin so far purchased by the ETFs. On the 11th since the 11th of January 2014, which they 2024 when they went live, and of course we covered it at the time, right? So 690,000 Bitcoin being purchased. That's pretty awesome, and Bitcoin's getting more scarce all the time. Very excited about that. Not as scarce as Ethereum's getting, I don't think, in some ways. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Let's look at the dollars though. Dollars, you can see the big money, billions of dollars coming in, right? Billions of dollars. 200, 300, 500, $500 billion. 337. We did have 168 go out last night, but actually pretty positive there with the ETFs. All right, let's jump over to the treasuries as well. Actually, we'll leave this because we'll talk about Ethereum later on. And let's go to the treasuries. We've been watching these, right? It is pretty exciting. Strive has been the star of the show. I think we can all agree. Strive is on the up and up, and it was kind of a no-brainer. All right, so pretty cool. All right, so we've got Strategy at the moment on 840,000 Bitcoin. We got Strive on 21,356. Strive is number 7, but they've had a huge week. Strive has had a huge week. Last week they bought 430 Bitcoin, and plus they bought common stock, raised common stock as well. So they end up with 1,100 Bitcoin. That's jumped them pretty nicely up to 21,356. The next week updates are going to be really fascinating for Strategy, Strive, for Bitmine, maybe even Sharplink to some degree. So really excited about that. And then I think in the future, we're going to be talking about a lot more of these DATs because they're all sort of setting themselves up, and they don't want to be too late to the game, right? So we know Metaplant's been making a few little moves in particular, and some of the smaller ones coming up like H100, Orange JBDC, and many others on the move. So we'll be watching those. But at the moment, Strive there could end up jumping. It will definitely jump this week into number 6 position. And maybe not too far away, it could jump into number 5, guys, against Bitcoin Standard Treasury, for goodness sake, which is supposed to be setting up, right? That's 30,000 Bitcoin in there. So keep a lookout for Strive. Strive is on the ascendancy, right? It is on the ascendancy, and that means it could be a very fast re-rating company. And so far, it's been share price has been going up. So the common stock for that is ASST, that holds the Bitcoin, and you can see it's got green candles here. But next week will be pretty awesome. We're going to go have a look. Let's go have a look at the how the digital credit is going. So you guys know that like maybe 80%, maybe more, maybe even higher, is what pumps the crypto market and the cycles. All right, so we've been looking at that, but also is this new digital credit is going to be a major catalyst within that, right? So we're watching that. Let me just go to digital credit over here. The format's changed, right? So I've just got lost a little bit. But we got Stretch at the moment is the microstatus strategy. This is the preferred stock. Basically, they issue more of it when it's at $100, and they raise that money from the debt markets and then go buy Bitcoin with it, right? So the debt markets are somewhere like 300 to 350 trillion. So it's a big market. Even just getting a fraction of that pumps Bitcoin to the moon, right? Bitcoin still relatively small compared to that. So let's have a look at the action. Obviously, we're still below. So what are we at? $97.63. We're still $2.37 below. Obviously, got hit last night a bit hard. So by the Fed meeting. But look at the beginning of the market. We actually got to a new high here, slowly creeping up. At the beginning of the market on regular hours, we got up to $98.14. So we're only like $1.85 below. So that's the closest we've been. Remember, it got down to something like $74 or something, well below $100. So we're trying to hit that orange line. Obviously, closed down towards the end of the regular trading hours there. All right, so that is pretty much it. So no Bitcoin's been raised from this so far. So let's go to the other one, which is Strive. Strive is the star of the show. And we've got SATA there. SATA offers a higher yield, right? So it's 13%, and it's on a daily basis based on 250 days a year. It's about just under 5.2 cents a day. And of course, strategy closed out yesterday, right? So they're bi-weekly. So they closed out yesterday was the last day, the Friday, and it was, I think, 50 cents a share. So they pay bi-weekly there, which is pretty innovative. But Strive there paying basically every day based on 250 days there. And look at the amount of Bitcoin they raised, 178 last night, even with the Fed, but they did close down. Let's have a look at that. So, they were printing, almost halfway, about 45% of the regular trading hours, they were printing over $100, and they still managed to get pretty good. But then the Fed came in and they wrecked the show. Look, it's way below $100 there, and it ended up finishing at 97. How low did it get, actually? Got down to $99.39, ended up closing or closed down pretty badly, $9.40, and then regular after hours it finished at $99.73. So it's 27 cents below $100. So that's not too bad. It can bounce back quite easily. So we'll watch out for next week. But look, they still managed to raise enough money for 178 Bitcoin purchases. An estimate, probably higher. So let's look at this week. Last week they raised 430 off the SATA, and this week let's see how they're going. So you got 253, right? So 253. I think we were looking pretty good. Now, this doesn't assume that they issue common stock, right? So when you've got an MNAV over 1, they can raise that, right? So just take note of that. So 253 on Monday. Let's have a look how they go here. And these guys are, this strategy is not even back raising money from the debt market here. 215 on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, they raised 187. This is estimate, so it could be higher, right? It could be higher. And then on a Thursday, let's see here, Thursday, 432 on Thursday. Imagine what they would have closed in on Friday if it wasn't for the Fed speech, right? Imagine that. It could have been pretty high. And then, of course, we got Friday with the Fed speech, and they raised 178. So 178. So the grand total is 1,265, and it may be slightly higher than that. And then they may issue common stock. So they might end up buying, last week they did 1,100. This week they might do 2,000, 2,500, 3,000. We'll see on that move. Pretty awesome. They had last week was about 5% growth. and look, they could be going to 10% plus growth this week. We'll be watching out. So that is SATA, and as we say, they are rising through the ranks. So let's say they do, I don't know, let's say they do 2,000, something like that. That's going to move them to 23,300. Let's say they do 3,000. That's going to move them to 24,300. They're going to take over bullish spot number 6, and then they're going to be probably maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks away from getting Bitcoin standard at 30,000. So these guys have got great aspirations. Remember, they're professionally run by money market bond managers, and so they know what they're doing there. And they can take out, over the weeks ahead, at this pace, they can take out all of these. I wouldn't be surprised to see Strive eventually double its coins and end up at number 2 spot at this pace at a growing rate like that. So let's see how it goes. But so far, so good. And wouldn't that be hilarious seeing them at number 2? And man, if you're holding that ACST stock and it gets to there, boy, you're going to be laughing all the way to the bank. That's kind of right. No, the DeFi bank, guys, not the bank. We hate banks. The DeFi bank. That's you, your own wallet. All right, jokes aside, let's move on. Let's go to the power law there. This is obviously one of the best models around, arguably perhaps one of the best. There are a couple other good ones, but this is showing the Bitcoin price all the way back to 2011, and you can see the banana part of the curves. That's what we're after, right? The banana part of the curves. We've had quite a few of them, at least 3 strong ones there, and we've had a couple of smaller ones. Now, I think this one back here where we had 126,000, let's 126,000 or so. I think that was our not the full rally, right? I kind of feel like it was a little muted, and so therefore I'm thinking we're going to get the banana part of the curve up here in front of us within the next sort of 6 to 24 months, somewhere in there. We're very excited about that. Now, the earliest time we know on the power law is for $1 million is in we'll zoom in, but is in June 2028. And let me have a look at that. So there we are. You can see on the purple line at the top, that's $1 million, and it's up here. So that's kind of the earliest time. We know a lot of people are calling for $1 million by 2030, 31, 32. Kind of feels pretty popular zone. But on the power law, it's as early as the 1st of June there as well. So it's pretty exciting. The green line, the midpoint, is 200,000 by the end of this year. So if you hear people talking about 200,000, not out of the ballpark, based on the power law there. 230 by the middle of next year. Certainly not out of ballpark there by June, and that seems pretty realistic there, and onwards. So in 2 years' time, approximately, let's just say the end of June in 2028, we've got 318,000. But of course, we've also got $1 million on the upside. So imagine having some sort of a banana curve into that over that next sort of 6 to 24 months. That's the excitement that we could get. So anywhere from power floor, all the way up. So there's pretty exciting stuff there. Potentially up to $1 million on the move. And I wouldn't, we get certain things hitting in the right order around the rule making coming up. We're kind of in a win-win position, and we see all that capital come over. All the participants play. It's game on, right? It's game on. So we could re-rate very, very fast and get some very big fat candles, guys. I know the candle we just had was the historic one, but I think we're going to get bigger candles, and eventually we'll get the $100,000 candle. We'll get that on the move, right? I think it's going to be looking pretty exciting. So we could get very much big $100,000 candle in the future here on Bitcoin. Can you imagine it? We're only at 81,000 now, but in the future, that's definitely plausible. We'll get $100,000 a day. It's kind of the holy candle there, but very excited about that. So I thought we'd move math a little bit there. All right, so let's jump away and let's get into Ethereum. Let me reset things a little bit here. All right, let's jump into. Actually, I just got rid of a few things I wanted. I don't know why I did that. We're going to get into Ethereum, and then we're going to jump to Pulsechain after that, guys. As you guys know, that's how we roll. Now, why do we do that? Obviously, it's a natural order, but also because Pulsechain is downstream from Ethereum downstream from Bitcoin, at least for the time being, but that may not always be the case. but we'll also always have that money flowing in, right? Most of the money flows in through Bitcoin, Ethereum, a few other chains like Solana, and so we follow the money, right? That's kind of the idea there. And of course, if you're in the magic carpet ride on Pulsechain, not only does we have a natural downstream, but we also have the ETH stack. So if you believe in that's going to be used to some degree in many ways, then that's downstream too, right? So we follow the money there. All right, let's go to the hourly on Ethereum. We're going to have also look at the ETFs, ETF flows as well. We're not going to spend so much time on the treasuries because we're waiting for the update for next week on Monday for Bitmine. But we might look at BMNR. Obviously, it would have pulled down. We did reach 1 over 1 on BMNR. So that's cool. That's the Bitmine stock. But obviously, we had to retrace this back down to 0.96 right now. So obviously, we'll watch that into next week. But they gave them enough time to raise money, guys. They got time to raise money. So Tom Lee, they're heading towards that 6 million ETH, right? Very important. And with the market going in as a tailwind, it's been a great time to raise stock over 1 MNAV, that market net asset value, and up and away. All right, let's get into Ethereum. I think we got the hourly chart here. Let me get rid of the overlays and kick that back into gear. All right, let's jump here. Bam, let's go. All right, so Ethereum there at the moment at 2,442. We obviously got wicked down here as well. We're up at $2,520. We had been slightly higher there. Got wicked down all the way down to 2,405. So obviously a lot of volatility in there. We've climbed our way back here to $2,442 here on Ethereum on the hourly chart. Let's go to the 4 hour, the trader's view. We've got this 50. Look at that catch up, the 50 hourly there. Isn't that also 54 hourly, I should say. Caught up now with the price, and we're at 2,454. We're just below it at the moment by about $9. So we're not far there. Keep a lookout for that. We want to get over that, right? We got American Ruster in the house there. Respect. Hey, good to see American Ruster. Respect to you as well. So that's the chart there at the moment, and you can see we're still holding pretty strong on the old Ethereum. As a 4 hourly chart, we're obviously had a nice little subtle uptrend there. Definitely broken down through that, but a good chance for us to move up here, I think, as well. Let's go to the daily on the old Ethereum there. Allows the RSI to cool off a little bit too. We're at 2,443, so we got the bottom of the range at 2412. So I think we're still looking pretty strong on the old Ethereum there. And guess what's coming up, guys? We've got a golden cross imminent, all right? So we're at, oh my gosh, look at this, guys. We're at, remember we started talking really a lot about this below $1,900, and here we are. The 50 now is at $2,004. So we just crossed over $2,000, guys, on the 50 moving average. Isn't that awesome on the daily? And then we got the orange, the 200 daily moving average at 2020. We are now gapped down to $15. $15 to go close to a golden cross. That is really bullish. So we're holding 2,400. We got a nice golden cross coming out. The market should receive this really well, and hopefully is just one of those mini catalysts to the upside. Very cool. All right, so we're actually looking better than expected in with that little wash sell-off. Now we're going to go to the weekly. This also happens to be converging, so we've got a lot of convergences, right? So we've got 200 simple moving average, the 4-year cycle, as it were, a rolling dynamic 4-year cycle. We've got 2,497. We've pretty much been stuck around that, right? And here we are just below it at the moment by about $50, $55, I'd say. So, we are looking really interesting here on the daily. The golden cross imminent, $15 away. And here we are on the weekly here. And of course, we want to get past. We have got above the 3rd level, right, on the way down. So if we add the overlays, we have got down that bearish resistance there on the bearish downtrend. We did break out of that already. So first bullish sign, but then consolidated. And then we had a big pump, record pump. So, positive sign after positive sign. Now we're after the final one, right? The final one here. And we've also got a golden cross happening at the same time. I mean, it's pretty crazy times to have so much convergences, but it's very positive too to the upside, I think. So, yeah, pretty cool. And then we've still got the Fed, still got the Clarity Act coming up in a couple of weeks. TikTok, time to rock. And we've got kind of a win-win situation there with the CFTC, SEC, as we said. And we've got the US Treasury in our favor. And now we've got, in my view, we've got the Fed kicking the can down as far down the road as they can and waiting for more data, right? the market's kind of jumped a little bit because of the goal of 2% and the PCE inflation at 3.7, wanting to close that gap. I can see that. That's a hawkish statement. But actually, when you say, well, we're waiting for more data, we want to see underlying inflation, that is a dovish thing for me. That's just push the the can down the road. So that's kind of why I feel like that's happened again. We already had the first speech, remember, a couple of months back when he got in power, and it was the same kind of thing, right? Yeah, we'll see how we go on there. I thought his speech. I thought his speech was. I really like him. He's a super smart guy. I wasn't a big fan of his speech. I'm trying to be realistic here. But his speech, I was listening to it, and it was very boring. I don't know, it was just very boring. I was hoping that we'd get a bit better from him. But like I say, I think the underlying is that he's kicking the can down the road there, certainly past the midterms. Look, the data may very well play in his favor because, as you guys know, Trump is moving to expand the supply, and that is what you want to do if you're going to have high economic growth. So that's kind of where I feel that's kicking on there. And oil prices are, given what's happening in the Middle East, is relatively muted and may come down pretty fast too, as they're working on. If Iran's not going to come and say, hey, we're going to do a deal, the Americans are basically saying, well, we're going to change all the oil flows, right? And that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing, guys. They're changing the supply demand, the logistics, and the oil flows, the new contracts, and putting a lot of pressure on adversaries to do that now with the D-Day. So that's kind of the big picture that's playing out here. All right, so there we go. I've got this final crossroad. We definitely want to get over 2,600. That's kind of the key mark. There's a big gap in sell. There's not a lot of sell volume. But once we do break that, we go to 28 to 3,000. And 3,000's got a lot of sell pressure there. But I think we're going to get to 28 to 3,000. And if we do that, then up and away. So here we've still got 2 more days to close this out green. And then what are we going to see in the weeks ahead? Green. And the Fed chair speech might get left in the dust, right? Get left in the dust so far. We'll see how it plays out. That's kind of my feeling at the moment on Ethereum there. And of course, Ethereum, let's go to the ETH to BTC ratio. It is already telling us quite a bit of a story. The ETH is the chosen one. And as much as we've got to go to Michael Saylor's post because you guys are going to laugh at that. But we've got the ETH ratio at the moment on the weekly at 3.1%. We've been as high as 3.3% recently. We came all the way down from 2.5%, just above 2.5%. So it's Ethereum worth 2.5% of Bitcoin price. We now got Ethereum worth 3.1, just over 3.1% of the Bitcoin price there, and upwards there. We're also above the 50 weekly average at 31.4, so we're above that, looking very bullish indeed. And I think we're going to get the most violent re-rate on Ethereum going up in this next cycle within the next 6 to 24 months. I really do feel like it's going to be an absolute ripper. And of course, you saw last year we did in 133 days, we did a 3.5x in Ethereum, and that's an extremely powerful move. And I think the variables that we got moving forward are even more powerful with tokenization, with agentic AI trading, and we already see some pretty key milestones being hit around that. Like AI agents versus real people ratios, things like that. Really, some interesting stuff already starting to take off there. And a lot of the big platforms like Robinhood and that offering agentic AI, and of course tokenization boom. And in October, you guys know it, I talk about all the time, but the DTCC is coming in. That is the big move, and I won't go through all the numbers for that again for brevity, but we're expecting a major step change there as well. So and that's just after the Clarity Act vote, right? Clarity Act vote, DTCC, and then midterms. That's kind of the rollout at the moment, guys. And of course, the rulemaking from the CFTC and SEC if the Clarity Act doesn't go through. So that's kind of the play. We already got monetary printing as well. So we've got M2 rising. Obviously, intervention with Treasury. It's all pretty bullish, right? So it's really hard to find. We had that headwind today, but apart from that, it could be very short-lived. All right, so we could see this really re-rate. The 200 weekly moving average, the 4-year moving average is at 4.5%. So just getting over that's going to be a really nice re-rate for Ethereum. But like I say, I think we're going to go way beyond that, and I think we're going to go if we go all the way back here to some of these early days here in 2017. We're up at about 17% of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. I think we're going to blow past that, and I do really think that Ethereum is going to be the chosen one. Obviously, Solana and Canton and other chains will do well, but I really think Ethereum there, it's already dominating, right? Already over 50% on most measures there, and I don't see that slowing down, right? We got American Rust analysis, excellent technical analysis. I appreciate that. Thank you. There's obviously a lot of stuff you can add over there, but I like to just keep to the major couple, maybe up to 6 indicators there, moving averages, horizontal resistance, those sort of things, and RSI on certain charts. So here we go. That is Ethereum there. Bring it on. Bring it on. Now, obviously, we've had the ETH flows have been gorgeous, right? Absolutely gorgeous, and it's funny using a word like that, but it has been amazing. Right. So far, the ETFs have accumulated 3.5 million Ethereum. Remember, there's 120.3 million Ethereum. They've got 3.5 million, and they've been doing that since the 23rd of July, 2024. And remember, the ETFs are very profitable for the banks, investment banks, and therefore it's all self-fulfilling, right? They want, if it's so profitable, we want to get more clients using it. We want to expand opportunity, bring more cash. And if they can 10, 100x their cash going through, they make all those more fees, right? And then they earn more bonuses and all the rest that you guys know how it plays. And so this is almost, it's just inevitable at this stage. You know, it's kind of like that. They follow the money, guys. They follow the money, right? Thumbs up there from Diamond Hand. And they also don't want to be disintermediated too much, right? From the, especially traditional banks, from the DeFi. But it's gonna, you know, it's gonna happen. The only way it wouldn't happen is if you had, you know, like a Biden in power, an Obama in power, because they're against freedom. They want to control. You know, the big scare there. We already see that happening outside the United States in particular. So, you know, you got to have that freedom, right? Freedom has to be fought for, guys, just the way it is. And we're under, we used to be under threats from other countries. Now we're under threat from our own domestic leaders, right? The globalist Marxist leaders moving to tax us to death and take our freedoms, right? So they're very dangerous people. They're very stupid people. You got to remember, they're very low in the wisdom, and so you're up against people that, if you're wondering, you bang your head against the wall, wonder why they do so much stupid things. It's because they are pretty stupid, and it doesn't matter if they're intelligent, but they're pretty stupid, right? So that's the key thing. You don't care about person's intelligence. That's really about their wisdom and their goodness, right? So we're getting a bit of the bad of the both there. All right, so I don't know, probably all run by narcissists and psychopaths, if you know what I mean, like the sort of a tendency towards that. We got the 28th of August there. We had the one red. Look at that one red there. That's on the Fed speech. But look at all of it before, guys. This is 90,000 Ethereum, 78,000. I mean, it's just amazing numbers. We've seen big whales come in too. Just overnight, there was another 100 million whale come in. You know, it's just huge. So big numbers coming in as well. Whales are all moving earlier, in addition to all the ETFs here. But look at all those buys. I mean, just gorgeous buys there. Big numbers there, 90,000, 78, 74, 72, 97. I mean, they're big numbers. We had a small number, negative 10,000, so it shows you how good that is at the moment for yesterday's close on Friday. And that was mostly from Fidelity there. All right, so that's the ETFs. Now, I just quickly want to talk about Bitmine before we move on to Pulsechain. And that is Bitmine, got the MNAV back to 1. That means they probably issued a lot of common stock, BMNR stock, raised capital that way. Remember, 2 weeks ago, they were down to 78 million. Then they got back up over 300 million and bought 40,000 ETH. So some serious there. And they do over 1 MNAV because, you know, you've got to have the market value worth more than the underlying assets that you're holding. So that you're not diluting your shareholders ultimately, right? And so then they raised cash at the same time because they're over 5.8 million ETH. They're heading towards 6 million and 32,000 ideally. So they've got to close that gap. They could partly close that gap just through the staking and the rewards they use, but they also have to pay for their operational costs and for ETH towers, which is pretty expensive. It's my only real criticism of those two things of Tom Lee. The rest of the stuff Tom Lee's doing is generally pretty good. Obviously, he bought quite high ETH last year, but actually, he's been DCAing down on the bear market here that we had since October. And so, it's I think he's done pretty well over time. Now, some of the key things that he set up that people overlook sometimes is that Bitmine is now on the Russell 1000. It's also on the big board, right? So you got thousands of institutions, tens of thousands of investment wealth managers that can invest into Bitmine, and it's the only vehicle really for Ethereum that they really got the chance to do that. And so it's huge, guys. You imagine when we start running on ETH that all that capital can flow through Bitmine. That's how big a deal it is. And so I think people overlook that. But once it starts running, guys, it's going to run. And it just goes through all those different gap levels. And we got pretty close at the moment. So It's going to be really exciting. And not only that, but remember the digital asset treasury, they've got Maven, their staking platform. That's the foundation. They've already got $2 billion of third-party capital in the Maven they're earning as well, so they'll be getting fees from them. But actually, they're going much bigger than that, right? So they're going digital ID, they're going AI through 8Co, the subsidiary there, holding a lot of Sam Altman Wildcoin, all that sort of stuff. So they're going in pretty big with there. They're also going to go mass adoption, right? So we talked about X money for Dogecoin as a potential catalyst, but for Bitmine, and Ethereum as well, it's mass adoption through Mr. Beast. So we're watching out for how that plays out. I'm very excited about that because that could open up even bigger returns. And we saw Tom Lee only 2 days ago talk about the fact that that Bitmine holders could have stellar returns if certain things play out, conditions play out. And I think that's kind of the picture there. Tom Lee is playing the big boys game, and they will accelerate with the issue of MSTR to get to the 6 million. Not much far to go, and so it's very, very close. They could probably close it out whenever they wanted, really, especially on an up market. And they've got this big superstructure, as I call it, on top of the digital asset treasury and the payment rails there and the staking. And they could build that out to be an absolute juggernaut, guys, through financial applications. Mr. Beast doing his Leap application there, and we could see something happening in those space. So keep a lookout for all that. It's the stuff that's coming up in the future. It's going to be really the piece of the puzzle. The puzzle's coming together, and I think he wants to be big, man. I think he wants to make this huge, and he wants to be one of the greatest successes of all time. And he's got the baseline to do it based on Ethereum, and of course, moving finance over to the blockchain. Keep a lookout, guys. Keep a lookout for the strategy. I see a lot of commentators out there underappreciating the strategy, just talking about the DAT, going, oh, it's this and that and this and that. But it's actually the superstructure over that foundation of the DAT that we're really going to be looking at. The DAT's going to do spectacular, I think, but the superstructure over top of it, what will that be? What will he do? What financial applications? Who's he helping the institutions come over? What mass adoption comes through Mr. Beast? These are the things that I'm really keen about, and this is glorious, because all that capital will flow through to Ethereum ultimately if it ends up doing what I think it's going to be doing there. Awesome stuff, right? Awesome stuff. All right, so that's kind of where we are on that. That is a sort of a coverage of the ETFs. ETF flows, glorious. I'm going to turn the ETF flows into US dollars just so you see what sort of money coming in. Friday we had 24 million go out, but Thursday we had 225 million come in, 192 million come in on Wednesday, 180 million on Tuesday, 115 million on Monday. Last Friday, we had 184 million. Last Thursday, 219 million. Last Wednesday, 186 million. And Tuesday, 71 million. And Monday, 30 million. So billions are coming in, guys. Can you feel it? And we're just warming up. So very exciting. Very cool. All right, so we're going to finish there. And let's get on to Pulsechain. Pulsechain, value chain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Pulsechain. Pulsechain kind of leads in price in the last couple of months. Last year didn't get the benefit, right, in the rotation, got hit pretty hard, but this year lead the way. And of course now we've also got the magic carp ride downstream of Ethereum value, right? Ethereum re-rates, all that stuff turns from 650 million at $37,003 into billions of dollars, right? So we're looking for that. That's the same benefit that it has for Bitmine, for Strategy, Strive, the rest of the DATs as well. So it happens real fast, right? It happens real fast, the re-rates. So pretty crazy times. Like I say, in the future, I'm waiting for that 100K candle to come up. I think that's going to be pretty glorious. That's just something just out there. I'm just putting that out today because I think that's going to be pretty amazing, given that we're at 81, 77, 78,000 at the moment. Remember, 77, 78,000 was our floor price that we talked about. That's kind of where we've gone to with this Warsh speech. And 70, 82, 200, 83,000 is our resistance, which we want to get over, right? Hopefully we get over this week. Maybe we'll have a rebound over the weekend. If not, then we defer to next week, right? That's kind of the play, as long as we hold that 77, 7,800. And then we got that sort of 5-year average there from the last cycle at 71,000. That's kind of the key line there. We break 71, we're in trouble on the Bitcoin chart. So just being frank about that, it's the bulls over the bears, right? All right, so let's jump into Pulsechain. We're going to probably bring up Pulsechain stats, Pulsechain stats, and then we're going to go to Pulsechain deck screener. We'll have a look at pull up Pulsechain as well. That's kind of our basic setup here. and see how Pulsechain's got on this this pullback in the charts. All right, just bring up Wrap Pulse. Now we're waiting for a number of projects, key projects to launch, particularly Liberty Swap, and of course we also got First Vault coming out from Triple Dad. So we're waiting for those. Triple Dad's one, I think, probably going to be next week. They're doing final testing this week, I believe. But Liberty Swap's been doing a lot of bridges, opening up the capital flows. That's what you want first. Got to do it in the right order, and then launch all the DeFis after you've opened up all those capital bridges, right? So that's kind of the play at the moment, and we'll get into that too. We got Monster Thread number 69 coming out on Monday, guys. Can you believe it? 69 weeks. Wow, I just love it. So good. And up and on the up and up in there. Let me get rid of some of the overlays there. We've got to go to the hourly on Pulsechain, and I think we're almost there, guys. All right, so let's kick it into Pulsechain, and let me know your thoughts in the chat there as well. Now we've got a great audience watching here at the moment. We're an hour on the live. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. If you're on X, of course, smash the follow button. And if you're on X, also smash the repost button. Let's get this audience up and up and up and away. We've been growing pretty dramatically on the channel, so really appreciate the support there. We are the largest Pulsechain influencer doing daily shows and comprehensive coverage of Pulsechain. And obviously, of course, we look at everything else because you can't be ignorant of all the other markets. That's why we pull those in and do the order that we do. We follow the value chain down to Pulsechain, right? That's kind of the idea. And so, yeah, very, very cool. Of course, Pulsechain is a full system state fork of Ethereum on the 10th of May, 2023. So if you had assets over on Ethereum, you would have got them copied over to Pulsechain. There are probably quite a lot of wallets out there that have got copies and don't even realize it. So this is the way it goes. And we'll probably see a few of those pop up here and there. Go, wow, I just come to Pulsechain and just realized I got this copied stuff and they're worth some money, right? So you get a bit of that going on. Even after 1,200 and 4 days since Pulsechain launched on the 30th of May, 2023. So this is the results at the moment. Pulsechain down 8.76% after a huge run up, and obviously a pullback there on the wash speech. We're at 4.0's 1,214. We got Pulsex at the moment at 4.0's 1,100. We're just below the Pulse at the moment. We got Hex, that's down 8.45%. Hex is down 11.5% at 3,400 with Penny still holding pretty strong, even with the down day there. ProofX, which has been kind of the shining light in the last couple of days, is down 7.5% at 3.0's 11.6. And then we've got Ink Token at 60 cents, down 10%. And then eHex there down 11.25% at 1,300 for a penny. So Hex down the most at the moment, and I guess ProofX down the least, which is pretty good after the run. Let's go look at some of that. We look at three global metrics and sort of look at it. How expensive is it to do business on Pulsechain? And of course, we expect this to get more expensive as Pulsechain gets busier and more value. We're at the moment 920,000 beats. So we've seen this elevated the last couple of days, haven't we? Like normally we expect like maybe 300,000-400,000 beats on a sort of a low day. That will change, so we'll change the average over time. But we're almost, this day we did 1 million beats. Now we're at 920 at the time of streaming. It's 138 Pulse or 1,700 to a penny for a Pulsex swap at the moment. So that gives you an idea of how much it costs. The second one we look at is the validators who are confirming our blockchains and our transactions and getting paid for it at about 9% plus yield. Let's have a look at these. We've got 47,350. So we're up another big jump there. Let's have a look on our chart. We'll go to 30 days. So yesterday we're at 47,300. Today we're at 47,350. So what's that? 44 new validators come online there, and we're heading back towards 50,000. So that'd be cool. Slowly and surely we'll get there. I think we got down to a low about 42,000 or something, 43. I mean, we can check on our charts, but that's kind of the idea. Now, number 3 is, of course, the bridge. How much capital is flowing over the bridge? So typically, if there's good bridge flows, that's going into buying assets, right? So obviously, we've had a couple of negative days. We had a bridge issue and a bridge update. We've had a bit of money leave on at least 2 days. Well, today we're sitting at just below 63 mil. Our bottom was 47. So we're still up about 15, 16 mil from the bottom there about 40 days ago. Looking at the daily there, we've got $464,000 in, 266,000 out. So we actually got a net of 200,000. That's not too bad with a little pullback in the charts overnight. So that's kind of cool. Yesterday, of course, we were negative quite a bit. I'm trying to remember what it was. Was it 600, something like that? I'll have to go back and watch the show. But we had a negative day yesterday. We had a positive day before that, and I think a negative day before that. But otherwise, we've been doing pretty well And as you can see, we're still got a 30-day change in TVL for the bridge at 22.68%. So yeah, we've got quite a bit of DAI coming in, wrapped ETH, USDC, and DAI as well. So we've got 2 DAIs there. I don't know whether that's supposed to be another DAI. I'm not sure what that is, but we've got USD Tether, USDC coming in as well. But we netted out 200K, so it's a good day. We'll take that. Let's jump over to Pulsechain. This Pulsechain chart on the hourly. You can see we've bounced off 4 zeros, 11.59. Had quite the sell-off there overnight. I guess it was around here. And we know we went down quite a bit from just below 1300 of a penny, which is what, around here. And we've gone down there. So what we're up to, I guess we're up here. 13.39. Went all the way down to 11.58. Now we're back at 12.16. So it has 4 zeros on it. I'm just ignoring the zeros. It's just easy to talk about, right? Too many zeros to talk about. But 4 zeros there. And we are going to march back, guys. Do you want to hear the good news? We're going to march back to 3 zeros. We can do it, guys. We can do it. All right. We've got plenty of room on the RSI on the monthly. We can do it. Just bide your time. Be patient. Be patient there. People probably watching going, no, we cannot do that. It's impossible. Well, we bounced off the bottom at 5 zeros, 5,400. We're now at 4 zeros, 1,216. So, believe that's the way it goes. Coming off really thin liquidity still. And so, yeah, game on there. Now, let's look at the 4 hour. It's kind of the trading view. Let's look at that. So, trading view there. We got the 200 support there on the 4 hour at 10.87. So, we don't even have 5 zeros in view on the 4 hour. It's now 4 zeros. So we're in a 4 zeros land. We'll take that, right? We want to find good support at the 4 zeros. That's kind of the play, but at the moment, that's looking pretty good there. Now, we do have a little negative cross there on the 21 versus the 50, but we're still holding up pretty well in the middle zone there. Let's look at the RSI. How much room more to move? Well, we've cooled off nicely, guys. So, a bit of sell-off, as long as we hold support ranges for Bitcoin, we're still doing pretty well there. And, 31.79, and we're up at 38 on the RSI. So plenty of room for a rally. The stochastic's also turning up. We're only at 25. Plenty of room for the rally. 4 hour trading view gives us good support for the rally there. And we've got a 200 4 hour moving average at 10.85. Remember, 4 zeros, 10.85. We're just moving the zeros, just for those that are not familiar with that sort of use. Now let's go to the daily. This is the key line, right? We're above the 21 daily moving average. Very important TA number there, and we want to hold that, right? We want to hold that. It's a very powerful bounce there. Interestingly enough, it was not far from our first sort of mini baby gold mode candle wick, and here we are now. Now we have the 50 at 10,006. So like I say, the 4 hour looking good at this 4 zeros 1,000, and then we've got the 200 day moving average at 1041. So we've got 3 levels there on the daily and the weekly. The 4 hour and the weekly. 4 hour and the daily supporting our 4 zeros 1,000. So very good, I think, support there as well. And moving average won't hold you there, but it's just very good guidance there. And the market's watching that for the strength. 21 week a daily moving average, very powerful metric, and we're above that still. We wicked down a bit, closed above it, and here we are. We've gone down and touched it again. And we're still above it here on the moment. So really important for us to hold 4 zeros, 11.92 to the upside there. So this is kind of the key. We got sort of rejected back here on a couple of days ago on the 22nd. We got up to 4 zeros, 15.47. Very powerful line on the weekly. We'll see that in a minute, but that is the case there. Let's look at the RSI for the room. We have come back down. So we're not elevated at all. We're 54.87, coming back sort of the midpoint. Look at the stochastics. Down at 1.18. So we're looking great on the 4 hour, great on the daily for Pulsechain. And sometimes it's cool to have a cool off after we had such a massive rally, right? So kind of cool there. Obviously, we have to look at the majors. Are they holding support? But Pulsechain certainly looking very good. Now, weekly, let's go to the weekly candles. We've got this rejection, remember, at this 50 moving average at 15.24. We kind of touched it twice and 2 weeks in a row. We've come back down, cooled off, right? Because look at the candles there. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green weeks, and we had to have a bit of a cool off there for the RSI. It was pretty hot. Now we got the 21 weekly moving average at 5 zeros 9469. Not quite out of the 5 zero on the weekly, but we're getting closer and closer all the time. So yeah, pretty cool. And you saw on the 4 hour, the daily, we've got lots of indicators around the 4 zeros 1,000 now, just increasing our chances for the upside. We've got nice room in the RSIs on the 4 hour and daily, so looking pretty good there. So we're getting there, guys, getting there. Let's look at the RSI room here on the weekly. We're looking good too, 55.7. The stochastic's a little hot here, but as you saw in the daily 4-hour, room to move, and this can keep zigzagging up over here. So really the RSI 56 looking very positive. So, we've just about got most things, 80% things in our favor for the upside, looking pretty good there. And that weekly support, not bad there as well. All right, let's get into obviously the monthly, guys. You guys know we've got a lot of chances here. Look at us. We're at 40 on the RSI, and we're below the 20 line here on the stochastic. We're at 15, so we could expect reasonably lots of parabolics, lots of doubling in prices moving ahead here. Just a patience game, and so forth. Now, I want to do the Fibonacci, so we're going to go back to the weekly, and we're going to get rid of all these stuff here, and I'm going to add the overlay on from that we've done the other day. This is still pretty much intact, because we pretty much got resistance there where we put the Fibonacci extension, just another measure there. And so far we've come back, not quite back to the 61.8. That would be around 1149, but actually, we're doing pretty well there. And we want to get above this line here. So we're actually called off really nicely on the 4-hour daily, even to the weekly to some extent. For an attack on this 1529 to 1700, and you guys know this is the second goal, right? Second goal is to get this escape. We're now what I call the second wave, and we want to get this escape out of here. We got support at 1000, but particularly if we got good support at 1200, that's a really strong sign. I'm feeling pretty good about that's where we are right now, right? That we can go up to the upside. This last part of the blue line is the escape velocity, and this would essentially jump us on into the mega uptrend rather than this mega downtrend we've had for the most part of Pulsechain's history, right? And particularly 11 months that we had, brutal 11 months there before we started seeing the first sign, this orange box of a change in Pulsechain, that finally we're getting pretty close to the bottom there. So we're going to lock in 5400 as the bottom. That's 5 zeros, assuming no black swan event in the crypto. You guys know no one can really take that into account. So assuming sort of normal positivity, which we've generally seen a lot of things as tailwinds rather than headwinds, that we can go on the up and up here. So that's kind of the play at 1200. So Pulsechain looking pretty healthy, and we can get escape velocity, game on, second wave, and of course once we're above 1700 for good, I think we're on that lane, right? So once we're that becomes support at 1700, I think we're on to the races, guys, and bring on some of these big numbers. All right, so that's kind of the Pulsechain. Let's look at the overall markets. We're at 9.7 million, so still pretty good, right? I'm pretty happy with that. Hope you guys are too. 9.7. Remember, we were doing 2.5, 3.5 million during the bear market. With some days, on occasions, we were doing $1 million. So that's pretty scary stuff. 2.5 to 3.5 million sort of was fine. We tracked along there. But now we've been moving up to 6 to 8 million, to 10 million, to 12 million. These are sort of ranges we've been in on this rally. So over the last 2 months. Let's look at the top movers here. 9.7 million. Pulsex V2 is doing 8.2 million. 9mm V3 is doing 68K. Really nice results there for the 9mm. They've got to be pretty happy with that. SwitchX, our V4, is doing 391K. Liberty Swap V3 is doing 200K. A little bit soft on the Liberty Swap numbers, but we'll give them a bit of time to get a lot of things launching in there. And then 9-inch, a bit deprecated, but that's still doing 65. I don't know where it all is, but apparently that's what it's saying here. Uniswap, 17K, and our new V3 there is 2,300. That's really just half of what it was. I don't know, they've got a bit of work to do there for the old investor. Remember, I think they peaked out like 60K on a day. That's kind of key. So we've got 4 main dexes, right? Pulsex, 9mm, SwitchX, Pulsewap, and a few wild cards, even Uniswap in the mix there. Now, Uniswap, of course, the kingpin. And a lot of people may not remember, but Richard Hart and the Hex community made Uniswap popular when it first launched. And then, of course, Uniswap has knifed us in the back where we got the SEC. Put that knife in. We're real DeFi. We're going to kill the DeFi chain. We're real DeFi. We're going to kill the DeFi chain. You guys made us popular, but we're going to kill you anyway. And it's like, what the hell? What sort of friend is that? What sort of friend is that? Anyway, we had a bit of that going on. But anyway, let's get into Liberty Swap. Have a look at the volumes. Well, the top volumes. Well, obviously, wrapped USDC from Ethereum. Peacock, Richard Hart Cause. And then, of course, PDI there, kind of the key volumes. SwitchX mostly, which SwitchX is really starting to perform, isn't it? Just creeping up on people, guys, from Brandon. And I've got the Richard Cause in there, Wrapped ETH as well, and some Switch there on the main stuff. 9mm is most of the volume there is Richard Cause, Wrapped Bitcoin, making a bit of a play there as well. And then finally, Pulsex is currently most of the volume is through Richard Cause. And what else we got down here? A few other randoms: Zelda, Tiger, Crypto Dog, a few others down there. A bit of a Tropa, Maria, and a bit of Peacock there too. So those are where the most volumes are. Let's go in there, and of course, PDI. We talked about that to me. Top performers in the top 100. Well, we haven't got that many green guys. We've only got 8 out of 100 of the pairs are green on the deck screener trending. Remember, none of this is financial advice. You must do your own due diligence. Well, we've got here Zelda being launched over 9 months ago. That is currently up 70% almost. 55k volume on 17k liquidity, so pretty big market maker moving there. And up and away there on that chart. So looking pretty good on the weekly. Let's look at the daily quickly since it's up on today. So, a bit of volume coming in there. It's a kind of random volume coming in recently. Kind of king pig there. We've seen that with Peacock's, with Crypto Tiger God stuff. So that is on the up in there. So we'll look at the candle. Obviously, let's see here. So we'll go from the bottom. Why not? We only had a bit of volume come in here and there, though. Take note of that. But off the bottom, it's currently up 6,000%. So what's that? 61x, I think that is. So not bad there if you've been in that. Obviously, volume is a variable. SolidX from Firewhale up at 52 cents right now, up 34%. So big power move there. Let's have a look at that. So yeah, look, got sold off, of course. It's been on a rough ride with the first of the games, but apparently he's back up there a little bit. And what's that up? 333% in 77 days. Bit of a comeback there on the US dollar price. All right, let's jump away from that. That's number 2 and 3. Stake Teeth, number 4. One of our fork peers, up 12% at the moment. Let's have a quick look at that. And let's go to the weekly too. So up 11% today. You can see in the candle there. This is the weekly chart, been around for a long time. Look at that violence in that chart, man. Imagine trying to hold on to this thing, right? Up. Oh, yeah, super rich. Oh, wrecked. Rich again, rich again, wrecked. A pretty crazy chart, but it's got a kind of an uptrend. It's kind of, we'll see. You could put there some sort of wedge or something, but we'll see where that ends up. Top Hat from Crypto Coffee, arguably our largest influencer by all metrics, and that's just sitting around. He doesn't do too much promoting it, but maybe one day he will. Anyway, Top Hat there at the moment, up 3.6% on the move. Been around for over 11 months, sitting at 6,700. So let's look at that versus Peacock. We're going to look at it's up 3.6% today. And this is on 9mm, isn't it? So it gives me a funny chart, but that's on the up and up. Ink Dollar sitting at $1.02 from Fast Abdul, up 6%. So stablecoin liquidity fork there is on the up and up. That's our 4th liquidity fork that we had. He's launched a 5th one since then. And of course, Vault 369. ProofX there. Oh, these are with the scam toy tokens, NanoX and Mule. I would ignore those, but ProofX there. Just ignore those peers. We got number 9 is OG WebChef printer. Remember the 5th of September. Pretty flat there. So they're all in the red. So pretty much that. Like I said, we got a lot of Peacock coins up here. A real spread of coins. So we've got 9mm, currently down 5%, just over 1 cent, just under 1.1 cent, I should say. We've been keeping a lookout for that. It's like doing great volumes, but not really getting too re-rated there at the moment. So we'll keep a lookout for 9mm. Could get market maked at some stage in the future. What else we got? We got Switch at the moment, our 3rd biggest DEX, sitting at 3/400th of a penny, down 6% today. Obviously, it's got an inflation, in the first year to go through. It's got 2.5 years with, distribution being halved every first 12 months, 24 months, and then last 6 months. A lot of forced locking, so it's going to be pretty interesting over the next few years. But the revenue's been going up on average, I think. Peacock at the moment is sitting at 1.2 cents. Obviously, we're waiting for a lot of the DeFi protocols to launch. That's been launching a lot of bridges, which is fantastic. They're doing things in the right order, deferring their launches of the DeFi to make sure they've got their Waterworks company out, right? So that capital is flowing and new users can flow from many, many, many chains. So it's kind of cool. We'll get back to them in a minute. P-Tiger, which has been up 28x or so. This is up down 6.5% today. Let's see if it's rolling over a little bit. Let's see how that's holding up. It's still holding up pretty well, isn't it? 70 100ths of a penny. The highest it's got is back here on the 23rd. and that was up at 9,700 a penny, so just shy of 1 cent on the old P Tiger there. And looking at the move, oh no, let's go to the weekly on the chart, and we'll look at the move there. We'll just do it from the pump here. Oh, I'm going to try that again. Just do it from the pump here where the volume really started coming in. They're still up 979%, so 21x. They have been slightly higher there. Maybe a 27x there in 21 days, so pretty good there, and the chart's holding up. All right, I didn't talk about the ownership distribution. Just take note of that. So do your own due diligence. Nothing's financial advice. Now, Curve is here, right? So we've been talking about tokenization coming to Pulsechain. It's not quite here yet, right? We're waiting for Liberty Swap to launch their perpetuals, right? Which will bring commodities and stocks, held in the Pulsechain wallets. And so we're still waiting for that. And obviously, you can hold it in other wallets on other chains. They've been launching all over the place. And the Curve here is talking about being a real world asset, right, with real estate. They're apparently only about 3 days away from launch. So we'll keep a lookout for these guys, right? We'll keep a lookout for them. Let's go to the X account. We are waiting for, we know that Liberty Swap and Switch X are going to be supporting tokenization. So we are having that. Obviously, Pulsechain needs that to be up with the, be a fast follower, as it were. And look, we've got a lot of holders that will want to hold those assets, commodities, ETFs, etc., in their wallets. Well, these guys are pretty close. They said that they're only a couple of days away, I think. So let's quickly look here. You guys now have been sort of like cautiously optimistic that these guys are going to do that. It's not as simple as things when you're doing real estate. It is still, an emerging category. They put a lot of other stuff out here. I don't know why they put all this other stuff, but apparently it's about 3 days away. So we'll keep a lookout for that on the old charts and see how that goes. All right, so we got a few others down here. Pullback, of course, which has been a rising star over the last couple of days. It's come down 8.25%. Let's have a look at this chart. Obviously, we had the Fed chair. Let's go full screen, shall we? On the 4 hourly, we've got plenty of room to move to the upside, 57, and we are holding above the 21 4-hour moving averages. So pretty supportive there, and that is at 3 zeros 11.30. We're at 3 zeros 11.53. So still looking pretty good, intact here. We were sort of a bit of a switching between Hex and Prevex, didn't we? But we've still got the 21 moving average at 4 zeros 8,300. We've got this strong line at 3 zeros 1,000, and here we are at 3 zeros 11.53, and we peaked out at 12.93, just shy of the all-time high. So let's go to the weekly, and the daily there. Yeah, so we are elevated on the RSI on the daily, but got room on the short term. So not quite as good as some of the others, but on like Pulsechain, for example, but still got a bit of pep left in it. Now it hasn't taken out the all-time high of the second week, which was 13.85. So 13.85. Just was shy of that, as you can see. But not too bad. The RSI on the weekly is elevated, but not overbought. So there's still a little bit of room there to try and tackle that. But certainly, I think facing a lot of resistance at this level, certainly could make some nice little moves still up to that sort of, maybe 1,400 of a penny maybe, but still kind of elevated there. Now, if we took, a Fibonacci extension and applied that to the weekly chart here, and we'll take it right from the bottom, then that's maybe 1,900th of a penny on here, but I don't know if I'll see that getting there with the RSI quite that hot. But in the future, definitely a target. At the moment, just trying to take out the all-time high at 1,400 is probably the key mark there. Maybe it's got enough juice to do that for sure on the up and up, so we get nice move with the majors and everything. Pulsechain, then yeah, sure, up it goes. All right, so that is a Prevex. What else we got there? Vouch at the moment at 4 zeros 21.50. Down 8.6% at the moment is our top public validator, a bit like Lido and Rocket Pool on Ethereum. And along the other one we have is Validator X from the PlusX team. And so at the moment that is sitting at 4 zeros 21.50. So kind of cool. So, we've talked about a lot of the DEXs, about the biggest protocols. So focused on the generally bigger project teams. Some of the small project teams are very good too, but just different magnitude, right? Different magnitude of order there, either by utility or by value. And at the moment, we've got 4 zeros 21.50 off the high there of 4 zeros 27.50. Very low volume on Vouch, very low, but that might suddenly change in the future. We'll keep a lookout for that. What else? We've got pump tires. Obviously, pump fund's been one of the top performers in the last week. We saw that on the crypto majors. Pump tires there, had a little rally over the last sort of 5 weeks. Bit of a pullback today. Got up to quarter of a penny. Is now at 2/10 of a penny on that chart there on the old pump tires. Facing more competition though, right? There are more. There's Coin Mafia and Rack and Rochelle. There is a couple of innovative protocols from the Cabal King and others that with really great UIs, a lot of really rich features, very competitive. And then we know Liberty Swap's coming out with a Liberty pump or something like that. It's going to have a big one there, and that's going to be a very big competitor with the fact that they have all the bridging and all the capital flows, right? So that's going to be pretty exciting there too. All right, so that's kind of there right now. I'm just jumping through some of the others. Batias, a top sticks aggregator, down 9.4%. So we're just going through a lot of the blue chips really today, either by utility or value, right? So not necessarily big utilities have a lot of value at the moment, but they may in the future. This is up 460% in the last 190 days. That's a 5.6x, and it has been as high as almost 6.7x high there, up at 5.5 cents. So it's at 4.6 cents at the moment, and that's coming off then less than a penny in February, less than a penny there. So nice little gain there on Batias. We are waiting for P-Day, right? Their order book solution with DCA, AI, and all the rest of it. So we're still waiting for that, limit orders. And recently the last update was about an LMM update. And it was a little confusing the way they worded it, but presumably that's going to be related to the AI side of things as well. Keep a look out for that. All right, so let's scroll down here. Hex at the moment, of course, we talked about that, down 11.2% today. Let's have a look here on the charts here for this one. Let's go to the Hex pair here. Have a quick look at this. This is our Hex chart. This is the weekly, so we actually might go all the way back to the 4-hourly and see what the room we've got to move. So 4-hourly, we're currently obviously bounced off 31/100th of a penny. We're just below 34/100th of a penny. RSI is very low, 39, bouncing off 31. Stochastic is down here at 27. So on the short time frame, a lot of room to move to the upside. Daily, we've got just below the 21 daily moving average. So we obviously want to get over that. That's 1334.57. We're just below that right now. So yeah, a sign to get over that is very important there. And obviously we want to get back over 45/100th of a penny. We're down here towards 50, so really lots of room to move on the 4-hour and the daily, and stochastic RSI down to 1.7. So, I talked about we're getting overheated. We got the cool off, guys. We have cooled off on the Hex, so it's got room to move to the upside. Obviously, subject to the macro picture, but it has been moving against that anyway. So momentum is to the upside, right? Weekly here, let's look at that too. Weekly, we've got good support here on the 50 weekly moving average at 29/100th of a penny. We've got the 21 moving average at 16/100th of a penny. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near down there, but I think we've got pretty good support here from the 29/100th penny here down to the 26/100 penny. That's a 50% move on the Fibonacci. Our target ahead of us, of course, 69/100th of a penny with the 1.618. We are, elevated. Well, not quite elevated. We're 61, so I'm going to say that's a fair room to move to the upside. And we're hot on our stochastic, but they could ride hot there for a while, given how good we are on the 4-hour and the daily there at the moment. So I think overall looking pretty good for the old Pulsechain. Let's have a look at the pulse ratio. Get rid of the overlays, and we'll look at the weekly moving there. So we've bounced all the way off 117, 118 for P-Hex as Hex on Pulsechain. And this is the chain that ideally will get pumped from the Magic Cup Ride approach, if you believe in that, from the Richard Hart and the Sacrifice set. We got up to 335 pulse per Hex on Pulsechain, and now we're at 280, let's say. So still looking very good there, and arguably getting good support at around 270. So we'll watch out for that. All right, so that is the old Hex. Looking good there actually. Kind of happy about that. So move over Prove X, which is looking hot, right? And bring on X. Is that the play? Is that the play? Let me know your thoughts. Frank Whitehouse there. Good morning, good night. Good morning, hey Frank. Great to see you as always. So that's kind of the play there. Let's look what else is down here. We've got P2C the Greys UFO, top DAO token ecosystem, down 15% today. So pretty bit harsh there on that. On the old, at least on the UFO particularly. PDI down 11% there, so down a bit. We're up to on P2C, I should say, 7,700. So I had a nice rally. That's been taken down a bit, isn't it? I'm just trying to look for the bigger peer. Obviously got good Hex peers there. Very smart move there. Having peers with Hex and stuff, having having the buy and burns and the locking, a very pretty good dynamic setup. Obviously, as a reflection token, ecosystems still need growth in the users, and of course, as one of the biggest teams there with a lot of influence support, they've possibly got enough energy to try and push that, especially when we get a rally on Pulsechain. Now, Liquid Loan's our top liquidity fork, with the third biggest sacrifice set, $52 million. They apparently got mobile app coming soon. That's down 16% today after having a bit of a run. Let's have a look at that. They at 607,000. I'm just going to round it up, 7,000. They tapped 6,200 there with 6 zeros. They recently had a run up. Look at that run up there to 5 zeros, 1365. So pretty good. Let's go to the weekly candles. RSI at the moment on the daily is 45, so it's really cooled off here. A good chance that it will find support here. Certainly 5,900, which is quite a bit down from here, but that's very good support on the horizontal. But RSI kind of cool here at the moment. So I'd say good support at 6,000. We're at 6,900 right now, so we'll see how that goes. 4 hour, let's look at that. Well, all the way down here at 32, so really a lot of room to move there. May have is pretty close, if not already hit that support line, but 6,000 certainly looking good there on the 4 hour. And on the weekly, look at that run up. That was pretty awesome, right? So I don't know where we'll take it from. Let's take it from here at 6 zeros, 1,100. We took it all the way up to what about here, 1,350. That was a 12x move in 77 days. Pretty cool from Liquid Loans, and it's still up 520, 517. And I believe that they got the mobile app coming out anytime soon. All right, they're still doing conferences as well with Crypto Crazy, the CEO, and they're sitting on a pile of cash. Pile of cash there. All right, so kind of cool. Let's see where they go from there. That is pretty much the majors. We went through a lot of the blue chips there. Hex Dog, which I think was up yesterday, is down 42%. I'm pretty sure this was up yesterday. And that's down 42% today. So that's kind of a wild card here. Let's see. Let's quickly do this one. We're just going to cover this. Not financial advice, of course. But in 45 days was up 45,000%. So it went from 6 zeros, 5,700 to 3 zeros, 66, 2,600. That's a 45,000% move. So huge on the movement there. And yeah, so massive. So 45 days, pretty big there, has come down from that. And so look at that. Is still up, 1,200 and 12,600%. So still up there at the moment. We'll see where it goes. I haven't got an RSI on or anything, but that is just an interesting one to finish the top 100 off. So yeah, not many in the red there. Let's have a look at Pulsechain again. I just can't remember the pullback on that. But let's quickly look where Pulsechain is. So Pulsechain's down 8.6%. So anything doing better than negative 8.6% is doing better than Pulse, which seems to be quite a bit actually. So 50% of the peers trending at the moment are doing better than Pulse today on the down day. And we saw actually, having a bit of a cool off in the charts, very good for the RSI. Pulsechain looking particularly good. Hex looking very good. Prevex a little bit hot. A bit of room to move maybe on the 4 hour. But certainly Hex and Pulse looking much safer bets there at the moment. Interesting enough. So we'll be watching out for that, right? So let's jump over to the news finally, how we're doing for time. An hour and 33 minutes. We've got a really big crowd watching today, so big shout out there. If you guys haven't followed on YouTube, smash the subscribe. It's free to do. If you guys haven't smashed the follow on X, do that now. It's free also. And repost the show with those double arrows at the bottom there. Don't forget to smash the likes, but repost the show and share it out more and more and more. The Crypto Night Show, the largest Pulsechain influencer doing daily shows, and most importantly, comprehensive coverage of Pulsechain, including the crypto markets. We don't miss a beat here, and hope you guys enjoy it. Also, the Monster Thread, the weekly news publication, hitting around 50,000 plus people now per week. Of course, is the official publication of the Crypto Night Show going out as well. So, really tied into the old Pulsechain and have been almost for 7 years. So with Hex and Pulsechain, so a lot of cool stuff going there. Big shout out to MVS Crypto, of course, our editor-in-chief of the Monster Thread. Also, the promotional lead for the Crypto Night Show. If you're a developer team or out there, you want to get some promotional awareness, and then hit them up in the first case, or myself. So onwards and upwards there as well. We do help out a lot of the teams on the chain to get visible, to get awareness. It's one thing launching projects, and you can have the best tokenomics in the world, but if you're not getting awareness out there, it can be very difficult there. All right. So yeah, we're helping a lot there, and we love it. We love the community, and it's a pleasure to do it. All right. So let's see where we're going here at the moment. We're going to go back to LibertySwap, pull up the news, and see what these guys are up to. Like I say, I'm not expecting VersaVault, our 6th liquidity fork from Triple Dad, to launch until next week, probably. I'll keep you updated to that as soon as I find out. And I really will try and get Triple Dad on the show. If you've seen the Monster Thread, Triple Dad has got VersaVault in the Monster Thread every week, and so you can learn a lot about it. Now, I really suggest check that out if you want to find out VersaVault, the number 6 liquidity fork. It's got a few little tweaks out there. It's kind of cool. So, and I've also, if you go to X, they've got some updated promotional stuff around that about why it's so good there. So check that out. All right, let's go to LibertySwap. It is the Kraken project right now. Sitting at #1 blue chip developer. They are obviously launched the ZKX wallet. It's on the up and up, again, gaining a lot of new users. They are really making it a frontier wallet. What I mean by that, they mean, in other words, having the best of everything in it, also pushing the boundaries of what's possible in a DeFi. So making it, and one of the key things, making it really easy, guys, really easy. And of course, they follow crops as well, just like Ethereum and Vitalik follow crops there to make it the best in breed there. So really, really powerful team. Obviously, they have to reorder their roadmap, make sure they got everything in the right list. It's just a refining process. But yeah, pretty exciting there. Now, obviously, what they've been launching, but we haven't seen the big DeFi. We're expecting 5 or 6 big DeFi projects to launch. They've already got four of them operating at the moment. We're also expecting a 10x buy and burn. They've basically turned off their buy and burn at the moment, and the chart's still holding up pretty well, if you think about it, compared to that. It's almost, I joke around, but I say it's almost like a stablecoin. Well, they're joking about stablecoins, aren't they? They joke around 300,000 Bitcoin. They joke around pegging, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so at the moment, they've got $18,139 worth of firepower, and that's equivalent to 1.38 billion, over 1.38 billion pulse at the moment. And they're just accumulating that for, I guess, when they're getting ready for this 10x buy and burn. They're also probably waiting for, they're getting rolling out all their bridges now. At the moment, we've been seeing that. They added another 4 bridges to other chains. And of course, we're also looking for them to, after setting up all the water pipes, when you've got the capital flowing, new users coming, they've also focused on making it super easy. So gases, transactions, all sorts of stuff. And that is really important. If you're going to have people come into DeFi in particular, you got to make it as easy as possible, right? So not like you geeks out there that are willing to do the work. They're trying to make it so super easy that it's the barriers to entry are very low, and so that's really important, right? To make that happen. It's been a multi-year process in DeFi to get towards this, and LibertySwap there is pioneering a lot of the stuff in that space. So pretty cool. So intent-based trading, privacy, private lending, private trading, all are coming to the wallet here, and we're very excited about that. Slowly and surely, it's coming out there at the moment. It's pretty cool. All right, so we're going to get into all of that. I'm just going back down here to see what they've been operating. Obviously, a bit of updates around Liberty Pool and things. Let's see here. We can't wait for the tokenization of perpetuals. We're looking forward to that, obviously, in a big way. But let's just scroll down. Hopefully, they have a good morning. I always like when they do call, man. Here we go. I don't know if they're ever watching, but if they are watching, I love your good morning post. It makes it easy to talk about because you're going to find a good starting point. I like the ETH. Good morning. I like the ETH BTC ratio. Well, we talked about that just earlier. We like it too. It's a great indicator of strength of the altcoin market. It's long and strong. Absolutely, Lady Liberty. Agree with that. All right, so let's move up here as well. Let's start moving from here. So I'm going to jump past some of these stuff. So I'm not going to talk about everything they're posting. But 10 hours ago, they've got the Peacock buy and burn. Peacock is the store of value for LibertySwap. Obviously, the buy and burn's kind of turned off at the moment. They're accumulating that treasury. I said it's over $18,000 at the moment. Obviously, will fluctuate with the price of Pulse, but more cryptos going in there from trading all the time. Now, remember, they got the LibertySwap, their bridge. That's going to more chains now. So they're opening up the liquidity pools and the access to new people. Also, they're focused on, obviously, Hyperliquid. They've got the prediction market there operating. They've obviously also got Shield, Unshield, the ETH Railgun. They've got the operating as well. TikTok, that's looking really good there. And of course, they've got Liberty Pools, our third or fourth largest DEX operating as well. Now, they're going to bring back Liberty DEX, which is their DEX aggregator. That's coming back. They've been refactoring that to make it faster. So that's coming. And we're expecting many protocols, at least probably up to half a dozen heavyweight DeFi protocols. These are the money makers. These are the frontier stuff of DeFi. Particularly, I'm pretty keen on the perpetual market coming to Pulsechain because that's going to make Pulsechain catch up, be a fast follower, as it were, on the tokenization space We've already seen over the last 3 weeks AI agent setups being put in place by David Feder, by Squirrel, Red Squirrel, and people like that. So we've got the AI agents coming, being put in place with the MCPs. So that is happening as well. But that's a more sophisticated market at the moment. But that hopefully will become easier for people to use as well moving forward. So since we don't have a reliable and safe way to collect fees from all our products through smart contract sets, we handle it manually for now. And this is a snapshot of the wallet that I'm tracking, but obviously estimated balance 14K. It's actually up at 18,000 at the moment. So I'm not sure what this is dated at, but you can see so 1.3 billion. And of course that may have been just when Pulsechain had bottomed out there. All right, so that is Libby Swaps with Buying coming. Just keep patient with that. We're going to jump up here. Now they keep talking about PDI. I'm not sure where they're heading with PDI because Peacock is their main coin. Now, obviously, PDI community is one of our top volumes on Pulsechain. So obviously, having that as business flow is important, and maybe that's just where they're at the moment. I don't know if they're going to trying to bring any mechanism to PDI. It's sort of all over the place there, but we'll see where that lands because Peacock is kind of their main focus. And PDI there is obviously a good business customer, if you think of it like that way. So we'll see where they go from there. Let's jump forward here. 6 hours ago, if you want to earn yield by providing liquidity, Libby Pool, of course, is a great place there. So obviously attracting TVL there, very important. More TVL, more volume. Of course, the more buy and burn power, right? It took our team weeks to deploy this protocol safely. That's very different than the Vibe code, absolutely. Emmett Farm from Chorus, one of our top farm developer, clean Uniswap V3 style pool that the team is willing to keep their own capital in. Is the right standard for Pulsechain. Yeah, they got a big amount of the pool there, and of course they looks like they'll be moving quite a bit of that capital as well into the buy and burn. So we'll watch that too. All right, so that's kind of cool. Let's jump up here. We're going to scroll up here as well. Let's keep. Oh, what have we got here? Soon we'll be able to on ramp from Euro C to Pulsechain with minimal fees. So opening up those capital flows, not just from crypto, other chains and other pools, but also from a fiat world, right? To make that easy. Both through CFI, DeFi options here. So we're very excited that, and also including the Cash Apps kind of things, the Resolutes of the world. 1 hour ago, they said we're excited to announce that all of our products have RPC auto health checks and automatically RPC selection, not just for Pulsechain but across 20 networks. Obviously, we had a few issues with the Pulsechain stuff with a few of the RPCs, but we've got backups and other things like that. This means transactions data across all supported networks should stay fast, stable, and reliable without users having to manually switch RPCs, which is always the solution that people have been given. But a lot of people don't know what to do with that, right? This thing, it's just not working. That's not working. So, and if you want to run your own node, use a private RPC for better privacy and reduced exposure to front running, you can add your own custom RPC as well. More good stuff coming. So really trying to think of everything for the user to make life really simple, and that's really, really key. Low barriers to entry, as it were. So some good stuff there. They've got the RPC selections there on the wallet. All right, so let's move forward here. That's pretty much it at the moment. Like I say, we may see them launch more bridges, but to other chains. Obviously, we're looking for the fiat on-ramps to really wrap up. There's going to be a big wave of that. It's huge. And then, of course, then of a lot of the big DeFi protocols. So we'll just be patient with that. And that's can't be too far away. All right, so that's pretty much it. I think we might have a quick look at Triple Dad with VersaVault. This is going to be the 6th liquidity fork on Pulsechain, and he's got a little update here from VersaVault itself. I'm talking about this as well. I just want to get into, you can go check this all out on there, but pretty cool. A lot of cool specs there. VSD is going to be the stable coin, and VSDR is going to be the platform token. You'll be able to get yield with both of those. Very cool. And that's basically a lot of the traditional stuff of a liquidity fork. They're going to have little differences though, right? So little differences. They're going to have that's a big nice little map there. They're going to have differences because they're going to have little reflection tokens and some of the stablecoin mechanism there. So there's a few differences with the chain, with the liquidity fork. But that's really excited for that. It's going to be our number 6 coming, and it looks like a heavyweight there. Obviously, these guys have also, with Triple Dad, very well-known person in the community, and also, influence in his own right in many ways on stream and etc. Doing shows with a lot of other collabs and things. And, of course, loves the stogies, right? Loves the stogies. There's a stogie. Loves that as well. Kind of cool. So that is some of the cool stuff there from Triple Dad. I think we're going to wrap it up there. We're an hour and 45 minutes. What a show. We covered it all. We went from the stock market, from the Fed chair, gave probably a slightly different perspective than you'll hear on a lot of the channels. And also we looked at Bitcoin, looked at Ethereum, still holding up pretty well. 77, 78,000. That's the key. I'm going to have one more look at the crypto majors, since often it changes during the live stream. But actually, we're still looking pretty good. Pretty similar prices. 77,700 for Bitcoin, 2439 for Ethereum. So pretty similar stuff there at the moment. And of course, the standout's got to be Solana at the moment. Is that going to do a counter market move? Certainly looking good on the week there, up almost 11%. And so, yeah, we're still holding the lines, guys. Still looking very bullish. A weekly close this week would be amazing if we have a powerful weekend, counter move, let's say. And we just need a market maker for that, right? If that happens, that's going to be bullish. Otherwise, we'll have to wait till next week. And next week, we don't have a lot of cool stuff like we've had over the last 2 weeks for crypto. But we do have the manufacturing, which is important correlations. We'll watch that overall. And we've had a nice little call off in RSIs. So I'm still feeling very optimistic. Moving into the 15th September, we've kind of got a win-win. And so I really don't see things slowing down very much. And if we do have a pullback, then as long as we hold that 71K on Bitcoin, I think we're looking very good to the re-rate. And I suggest that we could have some very powerful re-rates on Bitcoin and Ethereum in the weeks and months ahead. I think could be quite glorious indeed. We are at the end of August. We've got September and then October. October for the 4-year bros, and that hasn't played out, has it? It seems like the end of June was the bottom at this stage, unless we get a defeater. What would it be? Think hum ha. It doesn't seem the Fed's got enough juice, as even with the down move today, it doesn't seem like it's got enough juice for that. And we've seen some pretty cool moves happening with the oil prices, and with the Venezuela deal today. Trump is on the move with that economic plan. It looks pretty good to me. So let's see where we go. All right, take care, everybody. Super Snake says, many thanks, Superman. You're welcome. Night to you as well. Once again, great audience. I love the audience, guys. If you love the daily comment, daily chats, and if you love the content, then definitely subscribe, definitely smash the follow, and hit the repost on the show. Helps a lot there. We've got Monster Thread number 69. Yeah, 69 coming out on Monday, and that's reaching 50,000 viewers or more. It really has climbed over the last week in particular. So yeah, we'll probably bring some fresh numbers to that, but very exciting times. And as the bull market rallies, imagine how many people read that. Could be huge. It's exciting times. So very cool. Now, if you like more, you want specific strategies updates, we do have a strategy club. It's very, very reasonable to join, just over $1 a day. You can find the links on the YouTube and also pinned to the X at the top there. You'll end up going through the Whoop store, sign up, you get a link to the Discord, and the strategy club is a hidden club in there. And you get all the updates every day during the day that I think are really critical to understanding the big macro picture, as well as some of the top performing platforms in AI and tokenization. So well worth joining up there, and it's a very well priced as well. It also includes the general Discord membership, which is $12.50 a month. So you get that for free as well. It's kind of a win-win. All right, take care. I'm going to fly away again. As always, catch you again tomorrow. Enjoy your weekend ahead, and let's see where these prices land. Can we get a green week for the close? That's kind of what we're looking there, particularly. We're not far away, really, are we? So let's see if the market makers will get us there. All right, take care. Bye for now.